The Crystal Rose Hotel was a palace of glass and light, the kind of place Maria usually only saw in magazines while waiting in line at the grocery store. Tonight, it was packed with the city's wealthiest, men in tuxedos, women dripping with diamonds, waiters gliding past with silver trays of champagne. Maria tugged at the hem of her borrowed black dress. It fit, but not perfectly, the neckline slipped, and the zipper threatened to catch. She didn't own gowns or glittering jewels. She had come for one reason only: work. Her best friend Jenna, who freelanced as an event planner, had begged her to photograph the annual charity dinner, promising, "It's exposure, Maria. The right person sees your photos, and boom, your business takes off." So here she was, a single mom with a second-hand camera bag, pretending she belonged in this world of polished marble and golden chandeliers. She kept to the edges of the room, snapping shots of laughing guests, the extravagant floral centerpieces, the string quartet playing softly in the corner. She was just getting into a rhythm when the atmosphere shifted. A ripple of attention moved through the crowd, like a tide changing direction. Heads turned, whispers began. Maria didn't have to look up to know who had entered. She could feel it, the weight of a presence that commanded the room. Still, curiosity made her lift her camera. There he was, Adrian Blackwood, the billionaire, the man whose face appeared on magazine covers whenever there was a story about power, money, or ruthless success. He was taller than she'd imagined, his broad shoulders filling his tailored suit, his expression sharp enough to cut glass. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his jaw set with the kind of authority that made even politicians around him lean in like eager students. Maria lowered her camera quickly, her pulse unsteady. Men like him lived in another universe. She reminded herself she wasn't here to gawk, just to work, take photos, and leave. But then, Mommy. The word was so soft, at first Maria thought she'd imagined it. She turned, frowning, and froze. A little boy stood a few feet away, dressed in a miniature tuxedo, clutching a well-loved stuffed lion. He had tousled brown hair, wide green eyes, and the most earnest expression Maria had ever seen. And those eyes, they locked onto hers with such certainty it made her chest tighten. "Mommy," he said again, louder this time, his small voice echoing against the marble floor. Maria blinked, startled. "Sweetheart, I..." Before she could finish, the boy broke into a run and threw his arms around her waist. Maria staggered back, her camera nearly slipping from her hand. The entire ballroom seemed to pause, the music, the chatter, even the clinking of glasses. Dozens of eyes turned to them. Whispers started immediately, sharp and curious. Maria's heart pounded so hard she thought everyone could hear it. She had never seen this boy before. And yet, there was something achingly familiar about him. Across the room, Adrian Blackwood's head snapped toward the commotion. His eyes narrowed, his jaw tightened, and in one swift motion, he set down his glass so hard it shattered against the marble. Maria crouched instinctively, trying to loosen the boy's small hands from her dress. Her voice shook as she whispered, "Sweetheart, you've got the wrong person. I'm not your..." But the boy lifted his head, his green eyes brimming with conviction. "No, you are. You're my mommy. I saw your picture." Maria's breath caught. "Your picture? Where?" "In Daddy's office," the boy said simply, as though it explained everything. His grip tightened, like he was afraid she'd vanish if he let go. The air in the room thickened with whispers. Faces turned toward them, some shocked, some intrigued, all hungry for scandal. Maria's palms grew damp. She wanted to melt into the marble floor, but the boy's words held her pinned in place. And then he was there. Adrian Blackwood. Up close, he was even more overwhelming than she'd imagined. Tall, commanding, his green eyes burning with a force that made her knees weak. His gaze flicked to the boy, then to her, and back again. His jaw clenched. "Ethan," Adrian said in a voice that sent chills down her spine. "What did you just call her?" The boy, Ethan, straightened, his chin wobbling but his voice steady. "I called her Mommy, because she is." A ripple of gasps swept through the ballroom. Cameras, real ones, from the press covering the event, turned their lenses toward them. The scandal was unfolding live. Maria's throat closed. She shook her head quickly, words tumbling out in panic. "No, no, you don't understand. I don't know him. I don't know this child. This is a mistake." But Adrian's hand slid into the inner pocket of his jacket. He pulled out something small, crumpled from years of being handled. He unfolded it with slow precision and held it up between them. Maria's breath left her body. It was a photograph. Of her. Not recent. Younger. Softer. Her hair loose and sunlit, her eyes alight with the kind of happiness she hadn't felt in years. A photo from a summer she had tried to bury in memory, the summer she'd met a man who had seemed almost too perfect. A man she thought she'd lost forever when he disappeared without explanation. Her gaze snapped to Adrian. "Where did you get that?" His voice was a low growl, thick with accusation. "You left. Without a word. Without a note. Do you have any idea what that did?" Maria's lips parted in disbelief. "What I did? You vanished, Adrian. One day you were there, the next, gone. I thought you'd moved on, forgotten me. Her voice cracked. "I never knew about him." Her eyes dropped to Ethan, who looked up at her with such desperate hope it broke something deep inside her. His little hand slipped into hers, as if he was afraid she'd slip away. "Enough," Adrian snapped, his control fraying. "Not here. Not in front of them." He gestured toward the hungry crowd of onlookers. Then, softer, his eyes locking onto hers with an emotion she couldn't name, "You're coming with me. Tonight." Maria's heart pounded, her voice trembling. "And if I don't?" Adrian leaned closer, his words meant only for her. "Then you'll walk out of this ballroom and break his heart again. And I won't forgive you for that." For the first time in years, Maria felt truly trapped, between the man who had once shattered her, and the little boy who had just called her mommy. And in that moment, she realized her life was never going to be the same. The boy pressed his face into Maria's dress, clinging to her like she was the only safe place in the world. And as Adrian strode toward them, his presence electric and dangerous, Maria's stomach dropped. She had no idea what she had just walked into.